Hey everyone, Glow Stars here, and we're back for another encouraging word in understanding in mental health. Our topic of today is transparency, and so we just want to make sure that you guys like, tag, and share this information that will be received today. And so we're going to just dive right in and get started with our scripture first, and then we'll open up the floor to everyone else. So the scripture today is coming from Hebrews 4, 12 and 13 in the message version. And it says, God means what he says. What he says goes. His powerful word is sharp as a surgeon's scalpel, cutting through everything, whether doubt or defense, laying us open to listen and obey. Nothing and no one can resist God's word. We can't get away from it no matter what. And so team and I were just discussing how that particular scripture relates to transparency. The most important piece is God already knows what's on the inside of us. He knows what we're thinking. He knows what's in our hearts. So the best thing for us to do is be open and transparent to God. But first, we have to know that we have to be transparent even with ourselves. And so I'm going to take this opportunity to open up the floor and allow my team to elaborate a little bit more on transparency for you.
So, particularly for mental health, that's one of the things that's a requirement for us because as professionals, we don't know unless you tell us, right? And so, what we tend to do, especially when we're dealing with things that are difficult, is we tend to pretend like we. I always say the mind can convince us of anything that it's not that big a deal, or because I've lived this way for so long. The idea is if you're transparent and honest with yourself, it allows you to be transparent and honest with other people, and then you can make the necessary changes. When it pertains to God, He already knows. He just waiting for you to say it. Like He already knows. He already know your struggle. He just waiting for you to be honest with him, so then he can start doing the work on you on the inside to then tackle those demons, tackle those issues that you may be dealing with. Honesty is a huge part of transparency because people don't want to be honest about what they're going through. If you can't be honest, transparency doesn't exist. Truthfully.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good.
Well, I wanted to add to that. When you two were talking, I wanted to talk about what is the real cause of why people can't be transparent. And it goes back to being vulnerable. And so, in our world, in today's society, right, when you're actually open about the things that you're walking through, people use that against you. I know a lot of times, as far as why it's a struggle for people to even come to counseling, when you've been hurt by so many people, when you shared your truth, when you shared your struggles with other people are out, for lack of better terms, we being real, people can be real fake. And so that's not like God, though. That's not like the counselor. In order for you to get the help that you need, you are going to be vulnerable with someone. But just watch who you're being vulnerable with. But I always say this to my clients, right? When we talk about depression, for me, depression is suppression, and suppression is what you allow to stay in. You suppressing it. But just because you're suppressing a thing doesn't mean that it's going anywhere. What I call suppression then is like suffocating. You suffocating yourself. If we are, God called us to breathe, right? In and out. We got to breathe in some good stuff. We got to let out the bad things. That's the same with everything that we're going through. But you got to be real about what you're struggling with. So in other words, with transparency, it's truly giving yourself the opportunity to breathe.
Yeah,
Good.
that's good, Gil. I was just gonna, add to that as far as like you said, a lot of times people don't want to be transparent. Because whatever has transpired, right? But we know that a lot of things stem from whether it's childhood, whether it's trauma or different things like that. And so sometimes we feel like there's nobody to trust for us to become vulnerable with, right? Also, in those moments of vulnerability, sometimes we've been hurt, even when trying to be vulnerable. So it goes back to now the way that I've seen the situation, transpire before. Well, when I was trying to be vulnerable and transparent, um, somebody, used the information and now, is using it against me. But
Mhm.
we also have to understand that that once again goes back to who we're around and who we're giving that vulnerable information to. And not everybody is trying to use something to get you. And in counseling, we have confidentiality, but to be honest, for all three of us as a therapist, I wouldn't want to disclose something so sensitive about someone that I know that could cause
Yeah.
any hurt, harm, or danger to them
Mhm.
in the long run, because I would want somebody to be sensitive to me if I was on the other side of it. And so, when it comes to just being transparent, knowing that you are going to a safe place, knowing that you in those moments, I mean, even if it builds up, but you have to at least get to a place to where you're opening up and realizing that that's a safe place. And so it's just going to be really important. Take the steps, take the time, but don't put yourself in a place to where you are not being honest with yourself, and then now you're running to things and people to fill voids that only God can. And so we have to make sure that with transparency, that it's not the woe is me. I'm being transparent because now I have the woe is me attitude of I'm blaming everybody for my life and my life choices and decisions, versus it being I'm being honest, I need help. I
Yeah.
can't do this on my own. What are some ways that I can combat the negative thinking? What are some ways that I can now, work towards a goal? And so, and we have to be realistic even with our goals and in work the moments, even being transparent with that. We got to have realistic goals. If we come in and we're struggling, with anxiety and depression, we can't say, oh, I'm going to feel better tomorrow and I'll never have to deal with anxiety and depression again. But just understanding that we all have a process. And even though we know God is a healer and he can accelerate your healing, it still may not transpire in one moment. Everybody's journey is different to transparency, but we have to get to a place to be more open and transparent.
Mm.
What I was going to add, what I was hearing when you were talking, Tatiana, was transparency is character development.
Yes.
Sure is.
It's
Yeah, that's
character development, and so with truly being transparent, you're actually creating a better situation for your character and who you are. Part of having a good character and being a good person is about being honest, right? Being truthful. So being able to be truthful about where you're at, where you struggle, where you can improve, that's character development. Because when we're not in that mind frame, we make excuses for our behavior. We continue to do things that we know are unhealthy for us. We tend to want to satisfy the world and people that really, in the grand scheme of things, don't really care about us. So for me, I hear transparency is character development. It's in making your character a better person, a better human. You'll be able to be more honest with yourself and other people. You're able to see those who lack the character development in your life that they haven't got to that point. And so part of that is changing your mind frame and mindset and your character, not being okay with holding important things in, not being okay with not getting the adequate help, and being aware of those around you who don't want that help for you. Like a lot of people cool with you just staying the exact same way you are in your trauma, uh, not making the necessary changes, not getting better, not getting the word. Like they cool with that because that's where they at. But
hmm
true character development requires change,
Yeah,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
that's good.
For both of you guys, I love what you're saying. I wanted to go back a little bit to even the scripture that you shared. If you have a physical wound, like an open wound, let's say you break your leg or you got a cut on your finger, you're going to give it the proper care, right? But what do you do about your soul wounds, about your heart wounds, about the inner things? You know, they're just the same as the outer stuff. A lot of people are walking around with open wounds. And you can see that. I can see, we see it as therapists by your behaviors, your actions, the things that you do, how you behave, how you respond to things. These are open wounds. So if you all are who are listening, this is why it's transparent. When you're hurt on the outside, right? We can see that. You can see that. But it's the same when you're hurt on the inside. People can see that too, whether you think they can or not. So this is a true reason about being transparent. Whether you real about it or not, people see. And that's what the word said that Tatiana read. God sees everything. He sees all the wounds. He's the one who is the master surgeon. Um, just to pose a question to people that are listening, I mean, the same thing. If you would go to the doctor to help an outer wound, why are you not getting the help that you need for your inner wounds?
Yeah, that's good.
That's
That's
good.
really good.
And uh, we know just from a health center that your inner wounds could affect your outer wounds, right?
Huh?
We really been discussing the mind, and we had that for our next topic for our upcoming summit on the 29th, June 29th, is that we
Well,
know from a medical standpoint that once the mind goes, the body goes. So if you, let's say they put you in a coma or something like that, or let's say your brain dead, if the mind does not function, the rest of your body doesn't, which is why you see people who go around acting like everything is okay, but they're stressed, they're sick, they're constantly tired, they can't sleep, because those inner things haven't been addressed. They
yeah,
haven't been honest enough with themselves about what's going on, and then taking the next step of getting the adequate help. And so we talk a lot about physical health. We spend billions of dollars a year on talking about physical health and getting people healthy. But if we had that same energy put into mental health,
yep,
I would guess, if I was a betting woman, that we wouldn't have to spend as much in the health related things, because we're addressing some of those internal things that could potentially cause some of those physical wounds that are going on.
yep.
We heard a preacher say that people literally die from stress every year.
Broken
Um,
heart.
and we talked about matters of the heart. And when talk about matters of the heart, we're talking about your soul, your mind, will, and emotions. But even from a physical standpoint, if you put too much stress on your heart, on your physical heart, not good, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
the same thing from an emotional standpoint. If you put too much stress on it, if you're not taking care of those wounds, if you're not addressing that childhood trauma, if you're not addressing that trauma from that last relationship, if you're not talking about the issues that you haven't dealt with, you putting that same stress on your heart as well. And then you have these heart issues that you're not truly dealing with, and you're staying stuck in situations.
Yeah.
And so we don't want even the mental to manifest into physical. Neither of those situations are ideal. But again, if you need the help, you go to the adequate help for that. We're mental health therapists, so we're going to help you from the inside out. I always tell people, I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to be the person that can physically break you open in the physical sense. I'm not a surgeon, but we can get down to a lot of these deeper inner things to get you to open up in order for you to start healing those wounds. Heart, you start putting yourself back together, because as therapists, that's what we do. We work with you to put yourself back together.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, just to piggyback off what you were saying about fitness, people pay billions of dollars, right, a year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now they've come out with these new drugs that were supposed to be for diabetics, right,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
or pre-diabetics. Okay,
mm-hmm.
but people will trust to put something in their body that they don't need in order to help them lose weight, instead of just now saying, hey, I just need to do the work. Okay, I need to actually go get what I need, versus me just wanting to just go take something because it's supposed to work fast, right? And so once
Mhm.
again, it just goes back to the microwavable society that we live in, that everybody wants to lose weight fast. Everybody wants to get the results of whatever it is fast. I want to make money fast. And at the end of the day, it does not matter if you have not been properly healed or processed, you will still gain back the weight and you will still lose everything and be back in the same place. Sometimes 6 months to a year or less. It just depends, because once again, it goes back to, we have to uproot the deep rooted issues. We have to address what's really there versus continuing to mask ourselves and show up as we're going to a masquerade party every single day. Every place that we go into, I got a mask on. And it's just like, I don't want people to see the real me. I want to keep hiding who I am, but you don't realize, because you want to keep showing up with a mask on, that you're hurting your kids, that you're hurting your husbands, that you're hurting the people that are closest to you and around you. When God is saying, let me go in and do the work that I need to do, but I need you to lay on the table and be obedient, so I can now get into the places of you. So now I can get personal
Yes,
with
yes.
you. And so I can begin to now put you on the potter's wheel. I hear you. I can put you on the potter's wheel, and I can mold you and shape you into who you're supposed to be. So we can't be so afraid to be transparent, especially with God, so he can now come in and do the heavy work. The work that he's asking us to do is not hard. It's easy. And so we have to make sure that we just show up. And every time we show up, guess what? He's right there with us, making sure
Mhm.
that he's holding our hand. He's either holding our hands, pushing us, or pulling us, or actually carrying us to where we need to go. And so we can't be so afraid to be transparent just because what we've seen in the past.
Dang, I don't even want to go after that. But that was really good, Tatiana. When you were talking, right? I love how God works with us three. But it was funny when we were talking, right? When I was in the grocery store, when you said the microwavable society, if you go in the grocery store, usually the things that is worth for you to eat is the cheapest. So people get ramen noodles, they get canned foods, you get cereal, you get boxed things. These are the things that are quick and easy, but are the worst for your body, right?
Yep.
But when you got to take time to cook, so you got to get all these different ingredients, it takes time to cook, but it's better for you. So you think about yourself like this store. Are you bottling it in? Are you not doing the work? Like you said, are you looking for quick results? Quick ain't never worked out good for nobody. Just tell you that. But when you are processed, when you actually go through the motion of actually getting the things, the tools, when we talk about cooking, we're talking about ingredients, but when we're talking about God and the mental health sense, getting the wisdom and the knowledge to actually work on yourself, it is a longer, it may be a longer process, but you're going to have a better outcome. Quick things don't work. It's just like I literally was in the grocery store this morning. We were talking about canned foods, how much sodium and stuff it got in it. We wonder why everybody getting sick. We ain't been putting the right things in our body. So even think about your soul. What have you been putting in you? And the things that we go through in life, they ain't a quick fix. If
Right.
you've been dealing with childhood trauma and you 40, it's gonna take some work.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm almost 40. But yeah, it's gonna take some work.
All about preparation.
But
Preparation.
one thing I've heard health nuts say, especially for people who gain weight, is it didn't take you 3 months to gain that weight. So what makes you think you're gonna lose all that weight in 3 months? Like
Right.
most of us, it's been a
A
period of
long
time, usually years, we gain that weight to get to the point where we actually want to do something about it. It does not really necessarily gonna mean it's gonna take years to lose the weight, but it's gonna take a lot longer than what we normally give ourselves, right? And we are very much a microwave society in that sense of wanting a quick fix for everything. But God says, this is why God says, you're going to need me your whole entire life. You're not just going to need me for one moment or one situation. You're going to need me for your entire life. Most of us, on average, women live longer than men. We're talking about 70, 80 years. You're going to need my entire life. So you need to know how to utilize me and go through these processes. You know what I'm saying? I even think from an academic standpoint, it takes the average person 35 years to get a bachelor's degree.
Mm-hmm.
How many people get a bachelor's degree in a year?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not
How
gonna
many
be in
years
a healthy way. I'll tell you that.
how many do that? That's a lot of work to do in 1 year. You're talking about something that normally averagely takes 4 years that you're doing in 1 year. It's a process, right? It's a process. And so we have to be okay with going through the process of what it looks like in order to get on the other side of that, in order to be on the side of victory and stop thinking that we have to do things in a way that other people say we have to do it. And
Right.
I think that's a lot. The world will tell you a lot of things. The world will tell you, oh man, you need to let that go. That happened when you was a kid, but you're still dealing with it. You're still making decisions based off of it.
Right.
Hmm.
You still feeling some type of way based off of what's happening with you. And oftentimes people will put their expectations on you because they've never dealt with it. They put your expectations on you. God is saying, no, come to me. I'm gonna show you how to do this. Go get the adequate therapy. Go through the process. Break down these things. Release these chains you've had on your mind, body, soul, and spirit, which we talked earlier this week about.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Release all those things so that you're able to adequately live and hear from me, walk the way that I'm telling you to walk and order your steps, as opposed to what you've been currently doing that we know that you know
Ain't
isn't
been.
working. It
Yeah.
isn't working. And
Yep.
so that's another thing about transparency, realizing what isn't working. You know, we exist in situations, but just because we've been existing in them doesn't mean that they're good for us, right?
Right.
It made me think about a show that I used to watch, My 600 Pound Life, right? And I mean, I used to, I love this show. Dr. Now is hilarious. But one of the things he would always say was, they'd be like, "Well, I'm hungry, I'm this," and he'd be like, "You okay? You got enough stored up. You're gonna be cool. You're gonna have to do something different. Like you can't keep doing the same stuff and
Right.
thinking you're gonna get different results. You know what I'm saying?"
What's the definition?
And even in that, he most of those clients had to go through therapy because
Yeah.
it was bad habits that they developed over time. They were mentally bad habits that
Hmm.
they developed over time. And majority of the time,
People
majority of the
understand what
time,
you're saying.
he sent them to therapy. And
Yep.
as a therapist, those are one of my most interesting times to watch is when they were doing the therapy sessions because then you realize where the root of the cause was. It wasn't just like, oh, I just love food. It was like,
Childhood
no,
trauma, molestation,
all of
rape,
these things,
depression, loss, grief,
all of
everything,
those
every
things that were
problem.
going on that led them into an overabundance of eating. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Because food don't talk back, right? People talk back.
Right.
Food don't talk back. And so I don't have to address those issues with food because food don't talk back. And so,
That's a
you
good
know, what I love about that is majority of the time he did send them because there was a mental aspect to it. But he called them out. You know, he was like, "Hey,
Be
yeah, no,
real.
this is not it. This hasn't been working for you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be 750 pounds. So no, we're not doing this." And so for ourselves, we have to do that. And he something else that we've talked about on several occasions is accountability. Who's in your corner? Who's able to keep can you can be transparent with that holds you accountable. Most of the people that their husbands, boyfriends, family members weren't holding them accountable, which caused it to be worse. They enabled them. Enablers are your worst. Enablers are usually the people close to you. I'm being honest with you, but they also can be one of your biggest hindrance to your growth and healing journey. And so we also have to be aware of those situations too. And sometimes the best people that can help you are people that haven't been in your life for a long time,
Yep.
like your therapist, like that new friend in Christ, those things because people that you know well think they know you. And when you're trying to change from something they're not used to, they can hinder your process.
Yeah.
And so we have to understand that aspect of us and we have to be transparent with ourselves to understand it as well. I need something new and fresh. And I need something that's going to help me get on the right path to where God is trying to take me and where I need to go in order to get the correct healing. And if my current situation and people around me is not it, in order to get me to be able to be that point so I can be honest with myself, I can be honest with God, and I can be honest with others. I need to move on. This ain't it. This ain't for me.
Yeah. One thing that I continue to hear is it's okay to not be okay. And it's okay to
Uh-huh.
share that you're not okay. Transparent moment. I had a friend of mine some years back, probably about 5 or 6 years ago. I remember having a conversation with her, and this was before I was open to share with anybody, the struggle as far as when it came to the church circle that I was opening up to. And I remember our conversation, and she said, "It's okay, Tatiana, to not be okay." And because you carry these things, right, especially for a lot of women, Black women in our community, we have to be strong Black women, right? And
Mhm.
so we have to carry a load, and we have to be upheld to a standard of strength. But the thing about it is that in those moments, I didn't want to be strong. You don't always have to be so strong to where you don't share that something is wrong with you. And so you have to, know that it's okay not to be okay in moments. You have to know that transparency, being open about those things and communicating, that just pray for me, whether it's just pray for me, whether it's just, whatever that looks like, right? Or somebody, even inviting you to a church service, but being open to receive the help when it comes to you, whatever that looks like, and not be so quick to throw it away just because it didn't present itself how you thought it should have, right?
Mhm.
And all the help, we know that the word says that money answers all things, but here's the thing: if you don't utilize to take the money to now go pay for the therapist, then you are still not even getting the answer that you're still needing. And so we
Mhm.
have to make sure that what we're given in resources, that we now take what we have to now go utilize it to go get the adequate help in the proper places. So if you are depressed, if you have anxiety, if you are struggling with grief, trauma, or any of those things, make sure that you get in contact with a mental health professional that it is going to be able to help you. This is what G.L.O.W is all about, is making sure that we are showing up for the people that need us in the time of frustration, in the time of hurt, in the time of loss. And so we have tools, that you guys can utilize and everything. But it all starts with transparency. It all starts with taking that step, to be open enough and just share, I need help. Send me some help or give me some help.
That's good. I got a message to share on that, but that's good. Even what you said, Tatiana. Transparent moment for me. 2020. I think it was 2021. Around that time, 2021, when I started developing health issues. Yeah, I was making money, but I wasn't handling that properly. But I thank God, since I've been back home, I've gotten me a trainer. I'm eating better. I could be taking trips, right? We was just talking about that. We got to get back to our trips and stuff. But we decided, like, nah, it's time to invest in ourselves. That's even what we say about G.L.O.W, because people say, well, when can we start? Now? Because here's the thing: don't wait till it's too late to get the help that you need. And if you got the money, like, we can buy Jordans. We can pay $350 for Beyonce tickets. We can get the latest cars, whatever. But why is it that you put such a low price on your mental, emotional? Like, what is some Jordans gonna do for you when you about to lose your mind? What is the Lexus going to do for you? And you ain't going to be able to drive it because stress has caused you to have so many physical issues that you can't even drive. Our priorities are all wrong. And I know that was our word for this week. Your mind, body, soul, and spirit is now the priority. It's now, because you're not going to get another time probably in this world to actually focus on you in a healthy way with all the things that is transpiring in this world. There's rumors of war. There's famines coming. Food is going down. All these things. If y'all can't tell the signs right now, we need to be preparing. So your mental is way more important, and emotional is way more important right now than living your best life. And I'm just gonna say, you ain't gonna even be able to live your best life if you're not healthy.
All right.
I think we mentioned this when we talked about, of course, we've been in the mental health field, 10 plus years now. But I think I was just telling my dad the other day, COVID told us, with COVID, what it taught us is, we're all human. And what COVID taught us is that anybody can get hit. So it wasn't based off of race, it wasn't based off of sex, it wasn't based off of money, it wasn't based off of status. None of those things matter. Every COVID hit any and everybody. We were all the same. We were all in the same boat when it came to that, right? And so what God is telling us now is, we are all equal in a sense when it comes to the mind, when it comes to mental health. We're all equal. Just because you're a millionaire, you're not exempt from trauma. Just because you make a lot of money, you're not exempt from hurt, shame, childhood trauma. You're not exempt from that.
We
So
are therapists and we ain't exempt from it.
we're therapists who ain't exempt from it. But COVID taught us that no one's exempt. When you're talking about mental health and you're not utilizing it, and even those who had access to it weren't exempt. So people who had a lot of money who could pay therapists and do that, we're even utilizing it. And we're not exempt from the woes of the world and the things that were going on. And so we need to understand is that we need to invest in
In
it.
ourselves.
We
Yeah.
need to invest in it. Like we talked about health. A lot of people will invest in their health. Well, what about your mind? And I'm saying this is at every level you need to invest in your health. Whether you poor, you still need to invest in it. Whether you're middle class, you need to invest in it. Whether you're rich, you need to invest in it. One of the things that we've encountered being therapists is people want to
Low.
haggle the price. But when you
Yeah.
go to finish line about them Jordans, you ain't haggling.
Yes.
You
I
don't
mean,
have
for
the right.
real.
There's
That's the
nobody
truth.
online telling Beyonce she needs to lower her tickets prices. You wouldn't haggling the price. You see what I'm saying? When you go to that grocery store and pay for that junk food, like I do sometimes, you ain't haggling. You ain't haggling the price. You see what I'm saying? So how important it is for your mental health and for how you will live your life. And I always tell his therapists is that the thing about our job is if we do our job well, that we're gonna work ourselves out of a job because the reality is we want to be able to teach you the skills so you can learn on your own.
Yeah.
Again, it's a process because I think we can all relate to the client that comes in and feel like they're gonna have, 20 or 30 years of childhood trauma and we're gonna be able to fix it in one session. No,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
not.
Don't y'all don't do us like that. Don't overwhelm therapists like that.
But
Like
it has happened.
come in for an hour. We ain't gonna change your world in an hour. I promise you. But for us three, oh, we gonna give y'all some work and some things to do. You'll change your week in an hour, and if you continue to come back every week, that's gonna turn into your life changing within
Exactly.
a month or two. But you have to be consistent. Uh, Miss Crystal, I wanted to share some comments. Miss Crystal said you wouldn't want the doctor to do a quick fix during surgery. Another thing she said is we need to remove the stigma about seeking a therapist, and therapy is really affordable. I just think it's true. Like people will say $60 or $70 is too high for your mental health. We like the fact that so many people are struggling with health issues. We know personal people struggling with certain things. People come in as therapists, the first session, they can't even get out what they've been struggling with. They're in so much distress.
Mhm.
Listen, this is real, and this is why we want to truly be transparent on today. Your lack of transparency, your lack of not making this priority, this is why therapists will even call it burnout, why it's so overwhelming for us. Stop putting your needs on the back burner. Now we know we need physical things, right? We know you need a house, car, whatever, all these things. But you also need your mind, you need your brain, you need your body, you need your soul, you need your spirit.
Mhm.
And quit putting a price on that.
Yeah. That's good.
I agree. I agree. That's
Almost
absolutely
everything.
true. Absolutely true. We will
Yeah.
definitely purchase and make other things a priority over that. And again, if you don't have those things, you're unable to function anyways. And once people truly realize that, hopefully the goal is for them to get them to get that priority set. So, God told me to tell you, look, the three women that you see today is not the three women you would have saw 4 or 5 years ago. It took time, it took healing, it took transparent moments, it took accountability, it took some storms. And so back to understanding that your healing is a journey is that it took us a journey. This is years in the making. This didn't happen 6 months ago.
No.
It's years in the making. So people need to understand that therapy is your answer to understanding the things that you have gone through. Oh yes, Miss Crystal, you're correct. People have to know their worth. That you're worthy of getting the appropriate help.
Right.
Um, but back to what I was saying, that healing is a journey, and that you have to be able to. Thank you, Judah just said investing in yourself is very important and worth the investment. Yes, and being set free from your mental bondage, you have to be willing to do that. If when you don't, life will take a hold of you. The enemy will take a hold of you. Matter of fact, he's looking for you.
He waiting
He's
on the
looking
people.
for the opportunity to do that to you.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
so you have to make those things a priority because when you don't, everything else falls to the waste. To the waste. Go
Can
ahead.
I just add what you were saying, Darnisha? Because it's crazy. Pleasure, one of my friends on Facebook, and I work out with. My mama said exactly to your message too. Uh, the enemy is seeking whom that he can devour. You see all these people losing their minds, going in Walmarts and churches, shooting up each other, going on campus. He didn't got to them. You see
Nope.
how easily the mind is and how easily the enemy can come in. He's looking for whom he can kill, steal, and destroy. He's looking for who he can devour. So when you think about a lion, right? He's looking for easy prey. A lion ain't gonna really attack nobody that is strong because he know he gonna have a fight on his hands, right? And I love the people that I'm around, my mentors, Miss Crystal, the people in my life that have made me mentally strong for these fights. I don't go down easily, like we were talking about. But the first place the enemy is going to attack you is your mind. Like nobody cares about you. You see everything that you went through in life. Your mama put you down, your daddy put you down. You might as well end it all. Suicide, all these things. I love working with suicidal people, and not to say it that way. I hate that you struggle with it, but let me get your mind strong. Let me help you break down every lie that the enemy is telling you. You don't got to listen to everything. This is what G.L.O.W is doing, y'all. I'm thanking all the listeners and people out there that is really paying attention to us. We ain't your normal therapists, but we know what our job here is to do. The enemy is attacking us all. You look on the news and it's like, dang, that's crazy. Yeah, people losing their minds. And you think therapy should not cost you nothing? Listen, if it's worth it because you don't want to be the next person on the news.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's good. I was just gonna say, just to add to that. So understanding how important therapy is, right? Understanding that in life we're also on this journey, right? So we have been on the healing journey and understanding that healing is a continuous thing. It is not something that just, you are healed today and then you don't get tested tomorrow. And so the enemy you can only keep you bound if you don't know that you're already free.
There you go.
Oh, that's
And so we have to make sure that we know who we are, who we serve, and whose we are. If we don't know that, then the enemy can come play with you. He will make sure that you believe in who everybody else says you were versus who God has already stated and
Oh,
declared
yeah.
and chosen you to be before he sent you here. And so understanding that what Jeremiah 1:5 is that I knew you before I formed you. So God already sent us here. But here's the thing, it didn't matter what family we were going to be birthed into. He knew that there were going to be skills that we needed to acquire. He knew that we were going to have experiences that we didn't sign up for. But at the end of the day, with all that being said, he still put things in place to make sure that we have the proper care. And so we have to start caring for ourselves. We have to make sure that we stop looking to please man and trying to keep up with the Joneses, and we don't
Mhm.
even have a house or a place to use the restroom. Y'all know the saying.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so we have to make sure that we stop putting a price tag on who we are supposed to become versus us continuing to settle in who the enemy wants us to be. So at this
Mhm.
point in our lives, you got one, it's gonna be either way. You're gonna choose
yeah,
God or
one
you're
or,
gonna
one
choose
or
the
two
world.
choices.
And
Yeah.
so if you want to keep doing life by yourself without God, then you're going to keep getting the same results that you've been getting. But we have to understand that it's okay to turn, and it's okay to turn away from what everybody else is doing. And guess what? If you're not seen yet, That's okay. Guess
Okay.
what? It's
Absolutely.
okay not to be seen. Sometimes being hidden is good, and it keeps you from a place of struggle or experiencing or encountering things that you weren't even supposed to walk through. A lot of us are living the lives that we live today is because we chose, not because God had ordained it or planned for us. We chose a lot of the stuff, and we can't get mad at God because life is looking the way that it's looking. So,
Bad.
okay, God is saying you have free will and choice. What are you going to choose today? Are you going to choose to come to me and go get the help, or are you going to choose to keep running from me in rebellion? And so we have to know that it comes a point in the time to where God, he loves us, right? Nothing and no one can separate us from his love. But we got to understand too, we can't continue to just be like grace, 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 grace. We can't continue
Mm-mm.
to
Mm-mm.
take advantage of the grace that he's given us. We will look up tomorrow and we will say, I should have taken advantage of what God
Yeah.
gave me on yesterday, because now my life even looks worse now the next day.
Mm, it is,
No,
exactly.
everybody, we got to understand that this is the time to get the mental clarity that you've been seeking out. You got to make sure that you're free in your mind. So now, guess what? You're free in your spirit. And so you're not in these shackles. Your soul isn't continuing to, even though it may try to rise up, you know how to kill that flesh. So we have to make sure that we are investing in ourselves and stop investing in the worldly systems. Michael Jordan don't care about you. He not about to give you anything, but we will continue to give to people and places that all they're doing is taking from us and is truly killing us on the inside. So we have to make sure that we get to a place to where we're investing in us, that we're giving everything that we're getting everything that we need on the inside out or whatever. If I see you, you're a beautiful person, but you're nasty on the inside. And I can tell by the attitudes. You don't smile. Come on, y'all. It's time to do something different.
Man, hey, you
Yeah.
preaching today, Tatiana. What lit a fire under you. I love it. But no, what I had heard as you were saying it, I just want to share this. And this goes back to what you said about what you're investing in and who's invested in you. First of all, half the things that we purchase not investing in us. Apple ain't giving you no money. They might give you a discount, but they ain't giving you no money.
Mhm.
Your favorite stars, celebrities, they not giving you anything but you helping them. How about you change this situation and actually help yourself? You know what I'm saying? Invest in things and people that are actually going to help you. What I heard God saying though, Miss Crystal, speak on it. What I heard God saying though, as you were talking, is if you're not around people that are speaking to the God in you, those are the wrong people. If
Right.
you're not going to church homes where they're speaking to the God in you, that's the wrong church home. We need things that are going to feed our soul and our spirit at this time, and it ain't Bad Girls Club. You know what I'm saying? I keep up with the Kardashians too, but I know the Kardashians ain't giving me no money. I connect to my friends, I connect to my mentors, I connect to my family, my church home, people that can see the truth inside of me. Can what you said, your identity, these are people that can call out the real Gail inside of me. Darnisha said that we're not the same women that we were 5, 6 years ago. But I think about it, who was the people I was around? Where was I at? What was I doing? It brought out the world in me. It brought out the things that wasn't the best in me. I'm in the best shape of my life, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, but it's because of who I'm connected to, what I'm putting into my soul, what am I putting into my spirit. And as three women that have we have gathered all these tools together, years of tools and curriculum together. We utilize our own stuff
Yeah.
daily. So if I look this good, if we grown, and I can imagine like our clients look this same way. Our clients, I be seeing it on them. It's time to get around people that want you to glow. That's God, love, order, and wisdom. It is time for people that want you to shine. And I ain't talking about bling bling. I'm talking about when you are truly what Julie said, who you are, who Christ has called you to be, when you're out here doing what you're supposed to do, what you're out here doing your purpose, but you can't do that being broke. And I'm not talking about money.
Hmm. Brokenness is real. You ladies definitely hit on that. And Judith said, identity is our key to destiny. Exactly. A lot of people out here living misery because they're not truly
No, no.
living in the identity that God has created for them. We all, at a portion of our life, had created our own identity in what we thought that we were supposed to do. Our undergrads are all in other things not related to mental health.
Mm-hmm.
But when God told us that this is what we need to do, we had to actually listen, be obedient, and take those steps and do what He asked us to do. We had to make a change. And doing what we're doing now is part of the purpose He has for us. What happens is people are out here so broken, so hurt, they can't really truly hear from God, and they're not doing what God has asked them to do, what He's purposed them for their lives. And so, in order to be able to find those things and identify those things for yourself, you have to be able to get to identify all the mental things and mind games that have been attacked to you by the enemy, and set yourself straight and get right with God and get right with yourself.
Yes.
And what we always say is, yeah, people look for physical wealth and money, and I'm not saying money isn't important, but when you are of sound mind, that is one of the most wealthiest things that you can have and hold on to, because we have too many people walking around here whose minds are so warped and so gone right now that they could, especially working in mental health, we've seen some of the most saddest situations where their mind is so gone um, that people that love them would have pray and wish that it can change. Your mental capacity and your capacity to be of sound mind is it's what's the word I'm looking for? There is no number we can put on it.
No.
And it's so much you can do with that and what God has purposed you to. Then when on the ladder, when you do not have that, you have got to be in the mental space to where God can speak to you and tell you exactly and order your steps. That's one of my favorite songs. I know it's an old school song. Order your steps in my word. And for you to be able to do what He has purposed you to do in your current state, where your mind is so warped and you're not where God is trying to put you to be at, you can't be there. You're going to stay stuck. It's going to be like mud or quicksand, and you're
Yeah.
going to be unable to move, and you're going to find yourself 40, 50, 60 years old, and you have not moved.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
there is no real growth. I don't want to be the same person 10 years from now that I am today. I want to be so much better. I want to be, I want God to show me His signs, miracle, and wonder. I want to be an even better version of myself. I don't want to be the exact same place.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And the Bible says He can restore time, but He doesn't have to if we do what we do with the time He's given us.
Yes. That's
I just wanted to talk about identity a little bit. So, as therapists, right, we in order to adequately treat you, we have to have a diagnosis, right? So a lot of times people go to the hospitals, doctors, whatever. I got schizophrenia. I'm bipolar. I'm that. You identifying your pain. You are identifying to what you have went through. And our whole goal as therapists is to separate you from that identity, to separate you from even what got you to this diagnosis. We might say, okay, you struggle with anxiety, you struggling with it. But then when you get the help you need, that's no longer a struggle. That makes sense. So this is our job. You know what I'm saying? I don't, people that I be dealing with, I've had some real, from DHS on until I became a therapist, I had some people with some true real diagnosis. You wouldn't be able to tell that today because they in a way much better place. Healing your mind, healing your soul, healing your spirit removes what the enemy has done to you. Stop identifying with your pain. I
Yeah.
might be walking through a thing, grief. I've lost child, being divorced, everything. I don't talk about that stuff no more. That's not where my identity lies. I'm well blessed. I'm in a healed place. My mind is on a whole different thing. I don't identify with what has hurt me. But this is what we do until we get the tools we need to heal.
yeah.
When you're healed, you won't be saying I got anxiety. You won't be saying I'm depressed. Why? That's not your identity.
It's not your
Yep.
identity. And
Yep.
every mental health diagnosis that, because if you're a therapist, it comes your list of diagnoses comes in the DSM-5. So as bachelor level clinicians, psychiatrists, and PhD level uh, psychologists, we all use the same DSM-5. But God told me that there's nothing in there that He can't, There's not a diagnosis in this huge book that we use for diagnosing that he can't not restore you from. There's nothing. And it's every single diagnosis in there. I promise you. And I promise you, it starts with the mind. Something happened and then it changed the way you think.
Yep.
Yeah, for
In
real.
turn, these things happen, and here you are. There, everything starts there. Something happened, and then this happened,
Yeah.
and then it changed your viewpoint in your brain, literally your brain chemistry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, if we can tackle our thoughts, if we can tackle our mind, if we can actually get down to the root causes of what's causing your mind to think and have these unhealthy thoughts, it does, it will, if you do the work,
Change
change
you.
your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. All right. Well,
Well,
ladies, you
before we
want
end it, I
to?
just
Okay.
wanted to roll through the comments, get any thoughts about what you have to have. We got a lot of good feedback today. Um, Judy, she said a lot of us have been mentally ill since childhood due to the traumas that have never gotten worked out.
True.
My mom said I was just talking to this week to about my baby. I'm her baby, y'all. So just want to throw that one in there. Another thing, Judy said is a lot of us were born into sickness, but it's our job to help and get our minds and our soul delivered, which is so true. We don't have a say in sometimes like who we're born to, what families we're born into, the traumas that we see as a kid, the things that we go through as a kid, but it's still your responsibility to heal from it. I don't care what happens to you. Your whole responsibility is to still take care of you no matter what you go through.
Mhm.
So you are always going to be your priority. Miss Crystal, she gave a lot of feedback, just knowing your worth, being worthy. I love what she said about surgery. You wouldn't want a quick procedure when you had a doctor, so don't think you're going to get a quick procedure with a counselor. We
Mhm.
going to walk you through the steps and things too. Um, One last thing that Judy said that I really thought that was good is people's souls and minds are so sick they can't hear what the Lord is saying. This goes back
Absolutely.
into even your spiritual healing. We come into this world is sick. If you
Mhm.
see half the stuff that we see, this world is sick. They're making things okay that is just disgusting, but we're not gonna get on that. But the world is sick. Then we put it this way. Are
Yeah.
you gonna be the healthy one?
Yeah. Yeah.
So these are some comments, ladies. Just wanted
Yeah,
to
I was
share.
just gonna say, as far as when it comes back to what is there, people's souls and minds are so sick that they can't hear, and that is the whole point of Glow, is to make sure that when you come and you encounter us, you most definitely will leave with clarity, and you will most definitely be more free in your mind. The whole point is that to put you in a place to where you can be healed, delivered, and set free. And then on this journey, understanding that this is an opportunity for you to encounter Jesus if you've never encountered him before. And this is an opportunity for you to see him in a light that you've never seen him before. God is coming for his people, but we have to be open to receive the way that he's coming for us. And so, even those that are lost, or whether you've had church hurt or whatever that may look like, just know that God is saying he has a plan for you. And so Glow is a solution to a lot of the problems that are out there in mental health. And so we have to take advantage of what we have been presented with. We have to take advantage of what God has given us. And so don't be so afraid of change that you continue to just live in depression, trauma, and all those things just because you're afraid of the change. Fear of the unknown. No, we don't
Mhm.
know everything, and as far as just in the world in general, but we got to make sure that we stop listening to the news and we actually start listening to what matters.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Judy
Exactly.
said, bless you, ladies. God bless y'all. You ladies are what the world needs. That's what God told us, Judy.
That's what God said.
So this is why we got back on here because, as therapists, I ended with that. We can never share the people that we encounter, But our whole goal is for the clients that we have worked with, get our names out there, because we know that we have seen true transformation just with our curriculum, the tools that God has had us create, the things that we have. I know a lot of times, a lot of Christians come to us and we were their last resort before they left the church. They had been so broken down. And this is again why we're asking churches to even allow us the opportunity to come in to be able to help the hurt. The body of Christ, we're asking people to coming into a broken system, and God is saying no more of that. Let's get ourselves healed so that we can go out to the world as the disciples. Jesus had to come to all the disciples first and get them together before he put them out into the world. So this is the same thing that what he's calling us to do. Let's get us right. Transparency, it ain't nothing wrong with it. I'm transparent with my team every day. I call my mama all the time, like, this what I'm dealing with, but they get me together. They don't leave me like feeling how I was feeling. I love and appreciate you, ladies. I was just saying that to them this morning. We are very transparent with each other because we ain't got no time to be weak. And so yeah, that's all we're pushing. Last thing, thank you, Judy, but we'll be coming back tomorrow. He is speaking to me and he is proud because you are putting him first and doing this with him, soul and restoration. Yes, yes, yes. I hope people are listening, Judy. You guys spread the word. Tatiana, I'm gonna let you close us out.
All right. So thank you guys again for listening. We truly appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for the comments and everything. And so just continue to like and share. Just continue to listen. Just continue to help people to be exposed to what G.L.O.W, has and what we're presenting here on a day-to-day basis. And so we just want you guys to make sure that you're following us on TikTok, Instagram, as well as Facebook and YouTube. And so just continue to support. We love you all. Have a blessed day.
Northeast. Just quick, we're going to be doing our second mental health summit at Northeast Missionary Baptist Church in Oklahoma City, June 29th, where we'll be speaking about the battles of the mind. It's going to be a good one. The turnout last time was amazing. The church gave us amazing feedback. It's been doing wonders there. So to the churches, G.L.O.W here. So it's been great. We've been loving what we're doing. Thank you all for the support, and we just ask that you spread the word. Have a good day. Have a glowing day.